Some of the things left behind by our ancient ancestors tell us a lot, like how they lived, worked, worshipped, and shaped the world around them. But not all of them. Some raise more questions than answers, even after years of research and study. The best examples are the Piri race map and the mysterious underground city of Derinkuyu. Archaeologists and historians still debate how these ancient creations were made or why. So, get ready, because today we'll show you 15 ancient discoveries that continue to puzzle and confuse even the Earth's brightest minds. Number 15. The ancient astronauts of Valcamonica. So, what are you seeing? Is it a pair of ancient astronauts wearing helmets? Or is your mind playing tricks on you? Well, it's easy to see why these carvings have sparked so much debate. They come from Italy's Valcamonica Valley, a place where people spent thousands of years carving their lives into stone. Long before paper, long before photos, and long before recorded history, this was how they told their story. There are hundreds of thousands of carvings that show hunting, battles, farming, religious ceremonies, weapons, animals, and the everyday struggles of people who lived thousands of years ago. Some of the oldest images date back nearly 12,000 years, creating one of the most complete records of prehistoric life ever found in Europe. But among all those scenes, a few figures refuse to make sense. There are two strange human-like forms with large circular shapes surrounding their heads. To many, they look weirdly like people wearing helmets or protective suits. That's why some have named them the ancient astronauts. Of course, experts aren't claiming aliens visited ancient Italy. Most say these figures represent gods, ancestral spirits, or supernatural beings tied to beliefs we no longer understand. But that explanation hasn't stopped the debate. What exactly were the artists trying to show us? Number 14. The Astrarium of Giovanni Dondi. Imagine living in the 1300s and being shown a machine that could track the movements of the heavens. Most people would have probably assumed it was magic, but that's just what Giovanni Dondi dell'Orologio created. The Astrarium was one of his many inventions. It was far more than a classic clock. This 14th century wonder contained more than 100 moving parts and a series of dials that tracked the sun, the moon, and the 5 planets visible to the naked eye. It could even calculate religious feast days and important dates on the calendar. The most unbelievable thing is that the entire machine was built without a single screw. Scholars who examined it struggled to understand how such a complicated device could exist during that period. Sadly, the original Astrarium disappeared sometime in the late 1400s. Only Dondi's detailed writings survived. Thanks to those records, replicas have revealed just how extraordinary the machine really was. It didn't simply measure time. It attempted to place the whole universe inside a tiny box. Number 13. The Cave of El Castillo. Nothing disturbs a historical timeline quite like discovering artwork that may predate the people once credited with creating it. That is exactly why El Castillo remains one of the most debated prehistoric sites on Earth. Hidden inside a Spanish cave system are hand stencils, abstract symbols, and animal images that have survived for tens of thousands of years. Among them is the famous Gallery of Hands, a collection of painted handprints that still cling to the rock after nearly 40,000 years. The artwork itself is remarkable, but the argument surrounding its creators is what makes this discovery so important. For years, many assumed such symbolic expression belonged exclusively to modern humans. Then, dating evidence complicated that belief. Suddenly, Neanderthals entered the conversation. If they really were responsible for part of the artwork, then one of history's most enduring assumptions begins to crack. Intelligence, creativity, and symbolic thought may not have belonged to a single human species after all. That possibility forces an uncomfortable question. How much of prehistory have we misunderstood? Number 12. The Bellows Falls Petroglyphs. We have seen ancient petroglyphs in places like New Mexico, Arizona, Utah. and even across parts of Canada. Most show animals, hunters, symbols, or scenes from daily life. The carvings at Bellows Falls are different. Staring back from the stone are strange faces with round heads, wide eyes, and mouths that seem almost deliberately blank. Some even appear to wear horns or headdresses. They sit near the Connecticut River, not far from Vilas Bridge, arranged in two groups that share the same creepy style. So, who made them and why? Well, there are a lot of theories. Some experts say the carvings are only a few hundred years old. Some argue they may date back 3,000 years. They are often connected to the Abenaki people, whose traditions describe souls traveling west after death. The faces themselves look westward. Combined with a nearby burial ground, that detail has led to theories that they may have served a spiritual goal. But no one has ever managed to prove really what these stone faces were meant to represent. Number 11. The ancient ruins of Bonei from above. The hills of South Africa reveal something unexpected. Stone walls twist across the ground in patterns so large that they almost look planned from the sky. For years, many people assumed they were little more than scattered ruins. They weren't. These were the remains of settlements built by the Bonei people, a society that turned the land into a carefully organized network of roads, terraces, livestock enclosures, and farmland. Every wall had a purpose. Every pathway is linked to a larger system. Far from being isolated villages, these communities appear to have been part of a sophisticated agricultural world that thrived centuries before European colonization. But the deeper researchers look, the more complicated the story becomes. Some sites date back to around the 1500s, but local traditions hint at a much older history. Nearby discoveries, including the mysterious Liedenberg heads, only add to the puzzle. Who exactly were the Bonei? How did they vanish? And how much of their story are we still missing? Number 10. The ancient whale carving of Sydney along Sydney's northern shoreline, a faded carving continues to spark arguments among researchers. At first, it is difficult to tell exactly what you're looking at. Some see a whale stretched across the rock. Others believe it represents a four-legged animal. A few have even suggested it depicts a human figure. The problem is that centuries of exposure have erased many of the details that might have settled the debate long ago. The carving measures roughly 20 feet in length and belongs to a region once rich with indigenous rock art. Records from the late 19th century mention nearby engravings, yet many have disappeared over time or can no longer be located. Wind, rain, and salt carried in from the coast have slowly worn away the surface, leaving only fragments of the original image behind. If its true identity could be confirmed, it might offer valuable clues about local traditions and symbolism. Instead, the figure remains suspended between many possibilities, refusing to fit neatly into any single explanation. Number 9. The dead of the Mohenjo-Daro. Mohenjo-Daro was one of the greatest cities of the ancient world. Its streets were planned, its drainage system was centuries ahead of its time, and thousands of people once called it home. Then, something happened. Scattered across parts of the city, archaeologists discovered human skeletons lying where they fell. Some were found face down in the streets. Others appeared to have collapsed suddenly. There were no mass graves, no clear signs of battle, and no obvious clues pointing to what had gone wrong. That mystery quickly fueled speculation. Over the years, theories have ranged from disease and flooding to wars and even far weirder explanations. One of the most controversial claims involved reports of unusual radiation levels, leading some writers to suggest a prehistoric catastrophe unlike anything known from the ancient world. Most archaeologists reject those ideas, but they still disagree on exactly how the city met its end. Number 8. The massively Great Pyramid of Cholula. If you ask someone to name the largest pyramid on Earth, chances are they'll say the Pyramid of Giza. Well, they'd be wrong. That title belongs to a massive structure in Mexico, known as the Great Pyramid of Cholula. The strange part is that for centuries, people didn't even realize it was a pyramid. Covered in grass, trees, and vegetation, it looked so much like a natural hill that when the Spanish arrived in the 1500s, they built a church directly on top of it. Only later did people discover what was hiding underneath. Known by its original name, Tlachihualtepetl, meaning man-made mountain, the structure contains more volume than any pyramid ever built. Generations of builders expanded it layer by layer until it became one of the largest monuments in human history. Local legends claimed it was built by a giant named Selhua after surviving a great flood. Archaeologists reject that story, but they still don't have all the answers. Number 7. The triple-bodied warrior London is famous for many things, but few places hold stranger objects than the British Museum. Among its countless artifacts sits a figure that still leaves researchers scratching their heads. This terracotta statuette dates to somewhere between 650 and 550 BC and was discovered near Perga in Cyprus. What makes it so unusual is that it doesn't appear to show one warrior, but 3. The figures are fused together, armed and armored as if they belong to a single being. According to the museum, the statue was likely placed in a sanctuary by a warrior aristocrat to display his status, military strength, and devotion to the gods. Beyond that, the answers become far less certain. Some researchers believe it could represent Geryon, the three-bodied giant from Greek mythology. Others suspect it belonged to a local legend that has long since vanished from history. The mystery is made even harder by the fact that parts of the figure are missing, including sections of the legs and shields. So, what's your theory about it? Number 6. The mysterious winking man drive through Staffordshire, England, and sooner or later someone will point toward Ramshaw Rocks and ask, "Do you see it?" Some people spot it immediately. Others never see it at all. They call it the winking man, a natural rock formation near the town of Leek that appears to resemble the face of a man caught in the middle of a wink. For decades, visitors have argued over whether the face is actually there or whether the human brain is simply finding patterns where none exist. The nearby Winking Man pub has only added to the jokes, with skeptics suggesting a few drinks might help the illusion along. But local stories surrounding the formation go back much further. One of the best-known legends claims that any woman who gazes upon the face will soon become pregnant. The famous wink itself comes from a trick of perspective. Number 5. The Gate of the Sun. The Gate of the Sun has puzzled researchers for generations. Standing in the ancient city of Tiwanaku in Bolivia, this massive monument was carved from a single block of andesite weighing roughly 10 tons. Known locally as Puerta del Sol, it remains one of the most famous and mysterious structures in South America. Most archaeologists connect it to the Tiwanaku civilization, though arguments over its true age continue to this day. Some researchers place its construction around 1500 years ago, while others have proposed much earlier dates. The monument stands about 10 feet tall and 13 feet wide, and once formed part of a much larger ceremonial complex. Its surface is covered with intricate carvings, many of which have never been fully explained. At the center is a figure commonly identified as Viracocha, a creator deity associated with Andean mythology. Surrounding him are rows of unusual winged figures whose meaning remains uncertain. Adding to the mystery, the monument is split down the middle, possibly from an ancient lightning strike. Well, thousands of years later, nobody can say exactly who built it, when it was built, or what message it was meant to convey. It's weird, isn't it? Number 4. St. Blaise slab. Where did map-making begin? The answer may be hidden in a stone slab discovered in France more than a century ago. It is believed to be over 4,000 years old. It was first unearthed in 1900, but after its discovery, it spent decades forgotten in storage. For more than 100 years, few people paid much attention to it. Then, researchers examined it again and noticed something remarkable. The engraved patterns appeared to match the surrounding land with surprising accuracy. Rivers, hills, and natural features seemed to correspond closely with the terrain around the Odette River Valley. The similarities were too precise to dismiss as a coincidence. Many archaeologists now think the slab may represent the oldest known map ever found. If that's true, it likely marked territory controlled by a Bronze Age ruler or local chief. What makes the story even stranger is that the slab appears to have been deliberately broken, burned, and buried. Number 3. The perplexing Tiya stone pillars. Nobody knows who carved them. That's the strange part. For more than 30 years, the stone pillars of Tiya have been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Yet archaeologists still can't say with certainty who placed them there or what they were meant to represent. The site contains 46 massive stone monuments, many covered with carvings of swords, geometric symbols, and human-like figures. Some still stand exactly where they were raised centuries ago. Others have tilted or collapsed with time. The obvious answer is that they marked graves. Many tombs were discovered nearby, and many researchers believe the stones were connected to burials. But belief isn't proof. No written records survive, no clear explanation was left behind, and even the age of the site remains surprisingly uncertain. What makes Tiya so frustrating is that the people responsible left their work behind, but almost nothing about themselves. Number 2. Gornaya Shoria megaliths. The explanation offered for Siberia's Gornaya Shoria megaliths sounds easy enough. According to geologists, the enormous stone formations are completely natural, shaped by weathering and geological forces over millions of years. Yet not everyone is convinced. The reason becomes obvious the moment you see them. Many of the stones appear unusually geometric, with flat surfaces, sharp edges, and joints that almost look man-made. Some visitors have even pointed to what appear to be drilled holes, though those claims remain heavily disputed. If nature really created these formations, then it produced something unlike almost anything else in the region. If it didn't, the questions would become even more difficult. Who could have moved stones of such enormous size? And for what purpose? Over the years, theories have ranged from forgotten civilizations to ancient giants and lost cultures capable of engineering on a massive scale. Most researchers reject those ideas, but they have not stopped the debate. For now, the megaliths remain caught between two explanations, neither of which has managed to convince everyone. Number 1. The Dighton Rock. For more than 300 years, a single rock has managed to frustrate historians, archaeologists, and amateur researchers alike. This massive boulder in Massachusetts is covered with strange carvings that nobody has been able to fully decipher. Ever since the markings were first documented in the late 1600s, theories have multiplied. Some believe Native Americans created them. Others point to Norse explorers, Portuguese sailors, or even ancient visitors from much farther away. The problem is that none of the explanations fit perfectly. Certain symbols seem familiar, while others refuse to match any known writing system. Every new interpretation solves one mystery only to create another. As the debate continued, the rock was eventually moved from its original location and placed inside a museum to protect it from erosion and vandalism. Today, the ancient carvings are still visible, and so are the arguments surrounding them. Well, that's all from us. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, share it, and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you tomorrow